Hello everyone and welcome to my hip-hop gossip for you channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Yak Gotti and the other defendants were acquitted in the Young Thug RICO trial. The longest-running criminal trial in Georgia state history came to a conclusion on Tuesday when the two surviving co-defendants in Young Thug's RICO trial were found not guilty of murder charges. Yak Gotti was acquitted of all 6 of the allegations against him. Attorney Doug Weinstein reportedly put his arms around him as he hung his head and made the sign of the cross as the verdict was pronounced. Shannon Stillwell, the second surviving co-defendant, was found not guilty of the 6 other charges against him but convicted of 1 count of possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. Just before being given a time-served and probationary sentence, he also gave his attorney, Max Shart, a hug. The initial charges against Yak Gotti and Stillwell were related to Donovan Thomas Jr.'s death in a drive-by shooting in 2015. Stillwell was also accused with Shimel Drink's shooting death in March 2022. After a 10-month jury selection procedure, the jury, which consisted of 8 women and 4 men, started hearing testimony in November 2023. They began discussions right before Thanksgiving after last week's final arguments, and it took them just over 15 hours to reach a decision. Young Thug vehemently denied being the head of a violent street gang that controlled the Cleveland Avenue neighborhood when he first entered a not guilty plea. Months passed during the trial, which was tainted by error after error. When Brian Steele, Williams' defense attorney, was arrested on a contempt charge, it came to a head. Due to his poor management of a confidential discussion with a crucial witness, Fulton County Chief Judge Ural Glanville was also involuntarily removed from the case. Just as Judge Paige Reese Whitaker was about to declare a mistrial in late October, Thug's outcome appeared to be favorable when 3 additional co-defendants entered pleas with lower terms than anticipated. Young Thug promptly entered a no-contest plea to charges of racketeering conspiracy and leadership involvement in a violent street gang. Following that, he entered a guilty plea to 2 gun counts, 3 drug charges, and 1 minor gang charge. Adrian Love, the chief deputy district attorney for Fulton County, pleaded with the court to deny the no-contest pleas, but Judge Whitaker granted them. Young Thug was immediately given a 15-year probationary sentence and released. However, he will be subject to a 20-year backloaded punishment if he breaches the terms of his probation in any way. Jeffrey Williams Sr., the father of Young Thug, denounced the probationary conditions, which include, among other things, a prohibition against living in the Atlanta metro area. "I'm so happy that he's returning home," Williams Sr. told reporters in the area. "On the other hand, I still desired to battle. But he made that choice. However, I brought him up to be the guy he is today. From the time I was a puppy until now, I have always been a part of his life, and I will remain so as an adult." Williams Sr. clarified why he believes that Thug's probationary conditions are especially offensive, citing the prohibition on his son's return to his birthplace in particular. "Because this is where he's from, I'm completely against that," he declared. "And I find it offensive that a district attorney would take something away from him that isn't a home from here. She's from another state, and to see her take a man away from his home and force him to move somewhere else." As the RICO trial comes to a close, the father of Little Thug calls the Georgia DA office a piece of s ###. When talking about the Georgia District Attorney's Office, Jeffrey Williams Sr., the father of Little Thug, didn't hold back. More than 2 years after the rapper's initial arrest, the YSL RICO trial finally ended on Tuesday. Local reporters stopped Williams to inquire about his thoughts on the verdict. According to Williams Sr., "We're still fighting out here. We're not done yet. I'm still battling for this case because my grandson and another son were arrested in connection with it. I still feel the same way," he said in response to a question about whether he still had a bad opinion of the Georgia District Attorney's Office. The number is P hashtag 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 hashtag. We must remove those individuals from the area. We must get them out of there if we hope to maintain justice. Shortly after Young Thug's release from prison in October, Williams called the district attorney's office. But the most important thing we have to do for Fulton County and the city of Atlanta is to eliminate the poison that is in our system, which is the district attorney's office, he stated. Thus, cast your ballot for Courtney Kramer. I wholeheartedly endorse Courtney Kramer. Not because of what she said about us, but since she was at my firm and didn't know who I was, I think she's the best candidate for the position. The longest-running criminal trial in Georgia state history came to a conclusion early Tuesday when the two surviving co-defendants in Young Thug's RICO trial were found not guilty of murder charges. Although Shannon Stillwell, the second co-defendant, was found guilty of one count of possessing a firearm as a convicted felon, he was found not guilty of the other 6 accusations against him. Yak Gotti was found not guilty of all 6 offenses against him. Initially, both men were accused of Donovan Thomas Jr.'s deadly drive-by shooting in 2015. Stillwell was also accused with Shimel Drink's shooting death in March 2022. Following the conclusion of the YSL RICO trial, Young Thug's father goes off on the piece of *T District Attorney. Following the ultimate conclusion of the YSL RICO trial on Tuesday afternoon, Jeffrey Williams Sr., the father of Young Thug, reiterated his contempt for Georgia's district attorney, Fonnie Williams. Outside the courthouse where Yak Gotti was acquitted, Williams Sr. spoke to media about his earlier criticism of Willis. In his opening remarks, Williams Sr. said that Thug is doing great since being released from prison. He declared, "We're still fighting out here. We're not done yet. I'm still battling for this case because my grandson and another son were arrested in connection with it. I still feel the same way," he said in response to a question about whether he still harbors animosity against the Georgia District Attorney's Office. A piece of *T, that's what. We must remove those individuals from the area. We must get them out of there if we hope to maintain justice. But the work that we need to do, foremost, for the city of Atlanta, Fulton County, we need to get rid of the poison that's in our system, and that's the district attorney's office, he stated immediately after Thug's release, in reference to his earlier criticism of the DA's office. Vote for Courtney Kramer, then. I wholeheartedly endorse Courtney Kramer. Not because of what she said about us, but since she was at my firm and didn't know who I was, I think she's the best candidate for the position. In the case back in October, Young Thug ultimately accepted a plea deal that resulted in an additional 15 years of probation. Other limitations include a 10-year ban from the metro Atlanta area, the inability to create songs related to gangs, and more. See here for Williams Sr.'s most recent remarks regarding the YSL RICO trial.